Hey, Oreo. So, thank you again for agreeing to join me on the stream. I'm looking forward to our conversation with you. I know that you have some unique set of challenges, and just to speak briefly to my YouTube viewers, Oreo is a member in my Discord channel. We just started chatting like literally yesterday, I think. She's a really interesting person, very curious, very intellectually, I think, dynamic, and really into robotics and fidget spinners. But I'll let her share that later on if she wants. Um, but the thing is that she's like many of you guys watching this video. She is taking the May SAT, which is coming up in 5 days, and she's facing some unique. Oh, she. I completely miss. I am using the wrong pronoun. Bad Saul. Okay, they are they are prepping for the SAT and in coming up in five weeks. I apologize for that, Oreo. And uh, they face some unique challenges with the SAT reading and the math. But since I'm the reading teacher, with the SAT reading, and I'd like them to just sort of explain what the challenge is. So, back to you, Oreo. Could you tell us a little bit about yourself, your goals for the May SAT, and give us a picture of your struggles?
Of course. It's nice to meet you. I'm Oreo. I'm an 11th grader from Romania. And I'm trying to get a 1500 on the May SAT. Now, I struggle with dyslexia, dyscalculia, dysgraphia, and inattentive ADHD. And while that sounds like a lot, it is. My brain is
Yes.
collecting them like Pokemon at this point. So I have unique challenges of I misunderstanding text, accidentally skipping over like details or sentences, um,
So,
and just
and just because
reading comprehension.
not everyone might know all those words. So you have inattentive ADHD, which I think is the one that most people were likely to know. But then you also have dyslexia, calclia,
Dyscalculia.
calclia, and dysgraphia, right? Can you tell us what those three things are?
So if you don't know what dyslexia is a learning difficulty. Um, that's based on reading. So I have trouble with reading, and it's more so like processing information, and that same goes with dyscalculia, which is just for same thing for math, and dysgraphia, which is same thing but in writing. Now, for the English section, dyscalculia and dysgraphia don't really come into play. I don't have to write anything down or do math. But the dyslexia and ADHD like to work together, and it's not a fun time. But
Yeah, they
I'm
team
I'm
up on
trying
you.
to work around it. Yeah, they do like to team up.
Okay, so for the May SAT, what would your personal goals be?
Like I said, a 1500. And I hope to get like a 750 and the SAT higher if possible. And same with math. Like that's just where I want to be at.
So you're kind of seeing your English and your math as kind of roughly on balance, uh, similar to each other, 750, 750. Okay. So you have prepared some questions that you struggled on recently. And can you tell me just again how recently, when was it that you actually solved these questions?
Days ago, so on Saturday.
On Saturday? Okay, so that's just 2 days ago. And
Yeah.
if you could share your screen, then we can kind of get started. Because I'd like to, and I'll just talk really briefly, generally, about what we're going to do today. I'd like to examine some of the questions that you struggled with recently to just sort of like learn what your thought process is when you're solving like a reading or writing question on the SAT. and learn what your coping mechanisms are or like your workarounds are for figuring out how to tackle those issues, given the challenges that you face. And then I think the fun part is actually trying new questions that you may never have seen and seeing if we can come up with some techniques for like improving that um, overall the experience of solving a reading or writing question. How does that sound to you?
It's good.
Sounds good?
So, um, yeah.
All right. Then go ahead and just
I'll
share
pull
your
up the
screen.
questions now.
Yeah.
There you go. So these are screenshots from Blue Book SAT test number 5. I've
Okay.
retaken it, but I didn't remember the questions, so and I got a 710 on this one, and my high score is a 770.
So this practice test 5 is a retake. You've solved it before at some point. Roughly how many months ago was it when you solved it last?
Oh, it's in 2024, so a long while back.
So like a half a
Like
year
I think
ago.
somewhere in November.
Okay.
Yeah, almost.
So you solved practice test 5 half a year ago ish. Now you're solving it for the second time, like 2 days ago, and you got a 710, which is below your target score of 750, and you are sharing 3 of these mistakes. So we're looking at one of
Yeah.
them, right? Is there something else you
Yeah.
said that I might? Did I miss anything that you said?
No,
Okay, yeah.
that's correct.
So let's just look at one of these, and I think you've actually done the job of just hiding the correct answer and explanation. So let me just do a quick shout out for YouTube viewers. If you haven't seen this question yet, I encourage you to just sort of pause the video right now and just solve it really quickly on your own before continuing to watch this video. Okay, so back to you. So we have this question from practice test 5 in front of us. Okay, can you? I know that you kind of have learned and you've synthesized from our past conversations. You've synthesized some of my tips from my YouTube videos and your own like other sources into like your own test taking like approach. Can you tell me like when you first got to this like this is question 14, so maybe it's been like it's been something like 25 minutes or something like that, and now you're now at question 14, right? And you're seeing it for the first time on Saturday afternoon or whenever it was that you were taking this. What's the first thing you do? What's the first thing you look at?
At the question type, since reading has multiple question types, I always look at what it asks for.
Can I make a
And
quick
this one is
request?
an inference one.
Can I make a
Sure.
quick request? Yeah. Could you actually kind of use your mouse while you're speaking just to kind of indicate
Oh,
where you're
okay.
looking? Yeah. So, and just kind of use that as your pointer as you're describing the process and walk us through kind of what your thought process was. So you looked at the question first, and then when you were looking at the question, you said you're looking for the question type, you said?
Yeah. I know how to approach the text and then the questions.
Okay.
So this one is an inference. And usually for inference, I need to read through all of it. Sometimes I need to reread it like twice or even thrice to fully comprehend it. And then I try to make a prediction and then see the answers. Now,
Now on this
I'll
one,
read it first.
go ahead, read it. You'll read it first. Actually, no. Actually, on this one, let me just interrupt. Then, what do you remember? What your prediction was on this one?
Not really. I do remember what I thought of the text and what I thought was the correct answer.
Yeah.
So I can go into that, but I don't remember the prediction.
Okay. You remember the text and you remember the correct answer. Okay. There we go. So then, how about this? Do you remember what you chose?
Yes.
Okay.
I
Which answer
chose C.
you chose C? Okay. And you already know the correct answer, so this is kind of you're already sort of biased. But at the time, if you kind of like rewind in time, uh, why did like which words or phrases in C made you believe that it was the right answer?
It was C specifically. It was actually the text because I didn't read it all the way through carefully.
Okay.
I know why I I was going faster than I should have on it, but
Okay, I'm actually
sadly,
noticing I'm noticing something that's kind of I think it's not just like my software. I think it's on it might be on your side. Um, do you know how Discord has a voice filtering setting?
yeah.
Do you know how to turn off the voice filtering by any chance?
I need to go back on Discord. Did you just change the UI? Um,
If you go to voice
I have noise
settings,
suppression on.
noise suppression on, it's yeah. What's happening is you're clipping so that I don't I'm missing like sometimes some of the like the beginning and end of like what you're talking about. Um, so if you go into the Discord settings, there's something called there's the voice and video settings, and then there's something called there's noise suppression, but there's also the input mode.
The voice suppression.
Okay, voice
Um,
suppression should be right now set to crisp. Is that correct?
no, it's standard.
It's standard. Okay, and then if you can you find input mode where it says input mode, and then there's either push to talk or it's voice activity. And with input mode
It's on voice activity.
and
Um,
with the input mode voice activity for input sensitivity, can you make the sensitivity go all the way down so that it includes all the noise?
so the input. Okay.
Yeah, make this drop the input sensitivity as in drag it to the left. Okay. No, so maybe it's actually supposed to be higher. Then drag it all the way to the other side. Can you try speaking? No, you're being muted right now by Discord.
Like at
And
100.
you're at 100 right now.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. You're at 100 of input sensitivity. Is that correct? And can you just
Yeah.
try making a very small, like a tiny whisper of yes? Okay, Discord didn't pick that up.
Yes.
Oh, okay. It's you know what? It's definitely picking up more right now, so I think that should solve the problem. Okay, so we'll just leave it at that, and hopefully, it'll be able to hear more of what you're saying. Um, so back to the question. So I'm looking at the question now again, and Uh, you told me that you misunderstood the passage. Okay, but that's kind of like that's gonna be getting into your process a little bit. So I'd actually like to just sort of reverse engineer the process. Can you try to tell me if you're I'm really just focusing on answer choice C right now. Which words or phrases in C? Which words or phrases in C are wrong?
Specifically says laboratory settings are more suitable for studying blowjob spiders. This thing saying that laboratory settings are more suitable for studying like this or that type. So it's making kind of a comparison. Um,
So the words
with saying like laboratories are
more
more
suitable
suitable.
for studying is what's wrong. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
Okay. Uh, and you at the time when you were choosing C, did you look at more did you notice more suitable for studying, and did you think it was right, or did you just fail to notice it altogether?
Failed to notice it.
Because you were more
I
attracted
just
to
saw.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was more attracted to studying jumping spiders' diets than the flower preference. And getting that from the text as well, I can actually pinpoint where it went wrong in the text.
Okay, cool.
Like
So
what made me think this is the right one.
can we actually go ahead and pinpoint that? Where did you find that?
Okay, so it says that they found a positive association between experimental high protein and aggressive behavior in field collected males, and a similar association between experimental high lipid diets and aggressive behavior in lab real males. So I look at the sentence and I'm like, okay, so they kind of behave similar when you put them on specific diet, right? And then it goes on to say that field collected spiders showed a preference for flowers manipulated to display ultraviolet fluorescence, whereas lab-reared spiders showed a preference for flowers dyed with red food coloring.
So
So I saw the first one, I'm like, okay, they're similar in this diet, and then but they have a different reaction, or like they're different in flower preference, and that's what I went off of.
and I think you're really noticing, and you didn't actually say the word, but I think you're noticing the word whereas in the third to last line. Is that correct? Whereas in the third to last line?
So lab read show. So this shows like that they were different
Right.
in the flower
That's the word you
preference.
were looking at, I think, that made you feel that you could create a contrast between the flower preferences versus the diets. Am I hot or am I cold? Hot means I'm close to the
Yes,
truth. Okay.
that's what happened.
Okay. So, true or false, in your SAT preparations from either books or from video lectures or from YouTube or from your tutor, you learned to look for um, transition words like but or yet or whereas or while. You learned to specifically scan for those kinds of words.
I think I did it by accident here.
Oh,
But
interesting.
I
Okay.
was just trying to see like what's the text reading about?
Okay.
Like, are they doing like any kind of, are they similar? Are they different? Is there like a hypothesis? Like, what are they doing?
Okay.
So I think in this case specifically, yeah, there's a contrast and there's a similarity, but it's not always like that.
So you're not
And I
always
don't look
just looking for those
specifically
words.
for it.
Okay. Okay,
Yeah.
then maybe I was misunderstanding your habits. Now I want to, but that was already very interesting. I have some comments on that, but I'll come back. I'll share my comments afterwards. After you try to defend the correct answer. So tell me what the correct answer is, and then, well, first just tell me what the correct answer is.
Okay.
I think you said A. You got cut out a little bit, but did you say A?
Say
Okay. Now, I want you to try. I think you probably learned at some point that every answer choice has to come from the text, right? So can you try to connect words and phrases from A with evidence from the text?
this just says rearing conditions likely affect the response of wall jumping spiders to experimental stimuli.
Okay.
Now you can go to the same fragment, and it does show that, right, for high protein diets they were aggressive, the field males were aggressive, and then for high lipid, so a different type of diet, they were also aggressive. And then field collected showed a preference for flowers manipulated to display yeah. So just them. And then lab reared showed a preference for flowers dyed. So lab reared spiders were different from the field collected, right? Like they
Okay.
showed aggressiveness to high lipid and then preferred the red dyed flowers.
So let me actually
Um,
try to break 14 down into parts.
yeah.
So before I
I
actually do
think
it for
it's
you, maybe you
nowhere
can.
in.
maybe you can actually do it on your own. So let me just see how far you can go.
Yeah.
If you just look at answer choice 14, 14A. If you look at 14A by itself, how many parts do you feel like you can break that down into? How many
The rearing
underlines?
conditions.
Okay, can you make an underline there actually? Rearing conditions?
Let me see if I can. No, that's a signature.
Oh, this might not be easy to annotate with. Okay, it's okay then. We'll just use your mouse to hover
Yeah,
over
I'm
it.
not.
Yeah, we'll just hover over it.
Wait, can I? No, it doesn't let me.
All right, so rearing conditions.
Yeah, I'm not used to work on this.
And how about how many more parts are there left in A?
So rearing conditions. I'd say response of spiders
Response to spiders?
and experimental.
Stimuli.
Yeah, through
Okay.
experimental stimuli.
Which one of those three feels the easiest to defend with evidence from the passage?
I think that there are rearing conditions, right?
Okay. Can you go and find rearing conditions?
So it says, wait, I lost track. Let me bring my laptop closer. Okay.
Take your time.
So, lab-reared males. There you go. Lab-reared males, and then experimental high-lipid diets. And then you have lab-reared spiders again, and flowers dyed with red food coloring.
Okay, so the diets and the food coloring and the lab rearing, those are rearing conditions?
I don't know if they're rearing conditions, but it's the preference of lab-reared spiders, so still some
I see.
rearing.
That
in
whole
there.
thing
I
is
don't even
somehow
know what
connected to
lab-reared
rearing.
means.
There we go. There we go. There we go. See? All right. So we're a little uncomfortable with rearing conditions. So maybe that wasn't the easiest one to defend. Let's go back to A. Which other part feels more like maybe rearing conditions is not the easiest one to defend. So what's an easier thing to defend with evidence from the text?
The response of bold jumping spiders to experimental stimuli, and I just said that as well.
Okay, so you're actually
Right,
combining
because
those two
for
parts
how-
into one, actually. Do you want to combine those two parts into one? The response of bold jumping spiders to
yeah,
experimental
I feel
stimuli?
like
Okay, so everyone who's watching, just pretend there's like an underline from the responses all the way to stimuli, and then now let's go find the responses to experimental stimuli. Where do you find that in the text?
Oh, you have lab-reared males, right, and shows aggressive behavior to high lipid diet.
Okay.
And you have aggressive behavior in high lipid diet here.
Okay.
And then if you go down a bit, you have lab-reared male spiders again, and preference for flowers, for red dyed flowers.
Okay. I think right now, if I keep nudging you for about 3 more minutes, okay, I think you will start really clicking with exactly all the words in A and all the words in the passage, and you'll start seeing the connections, okay? But if I keep nudging you for 3 minutes, it just be kind of painful for you because you just keep like looking for it. So do you mind if I just show you the connections in the passage versus the answer choice?
Sure.
Okay, let me show it to you. And I think there's two things that might be happening in your head right now. The first thing is you might be surprised. Hang on. No, that's the second thing. Let me start with the first thing. I think the first thing is you might be realizing what the passage is saying more clearly because I'm forcing you to explain it to me, like in real time right now. You're understanding it better because I'm forcing you to explain it to me. Am I hot or am I cold on that one?
Unnatural a bit, and I can tell why C was wrong. Um,
Wait, sorry. Maybe the beginning was cut off, but did you answer my question? Am I hot or am I
yeah, I was
cold?
saying like you're correct. It was very natural. Um,
It was natural. Does that mean
it
you are
was
coming to
unnatural.
understand? What's unnatural? What is unnatural?
Me trying to explain the correct answer, or like
Oh,
the
actually, that's not what I said. So let
stages.
me maybe there was a misunderstanding there. So let me
Oh,
try
sorry.
that saying that one more time. So hot or cold, Oreo began to understand the text even more clearly because they were being forced to explain the answer to me in real time. That was what was happening. You were starting to understand it better. Hot or cold?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. I believe that right now, at this very moment, you have a higher understanding of this passage than you did 30 minutes ago. Okay. Even though I didn't teach you anything. Okay. I literally didn't say anything. I just asked you some questions. Um, so I want to, I got you maybe halfway there. I just want to push you over to the finish line because I think I know what the problem is at a high level. Okay. I have a hypothesis at least of what the problem is at the high level. So let me just share my iPad screen. It was just going to take a moment because I need to share it to you and to YouTube separately. So 1 second here. Oh, it's not happening very easily, but that's okay. Then maybe I'll just do it this way and hope that my Chrome doesn't act up. Okay, please don't act up. Okay. Okay. Did it freeze? It didn't freeze, right? No bugs? Okay. Looks okay. And meanwhile, I'll be just setting up practice test 5. Go ahead. Uh, hmm. What? I've never seen this happen before. Let me try force quitting. I'll need to hide my screen for a sec. Nice. Okay, you should be able to see my screen again. And hopefully it doesn't bug out this time. Press test 5. Here we go. Okay, nice. It's working. So I'm just going to hide the timer because that doesn't matter for us. And we're looking at question 14, right? And you can see my screen. All right. So here's the thing. Um, at a sort of high level, um, this is my hypothesis. And actually, now that I think about it, I kind of wanted to state the hypothesis at the very beginning of the video just to let everyone know that it's actually what I was thinking. But my hypothesis with attention problems for something like test taking is that you can take a kid who struggles to watch like some math video and then just put a video game in front of them and suddenly they're hyper focused, right? And what is the mechanism that enables a kid to be hyper focused on a video game but not on some math explanation video? Well, the thing with video games that is very different from math explanation videos is that in video games, like every 5 seconds, you have something to do. I'm going to say that one more time. Every 5 seconds, and sometimes depending on the kind of video game, every 1 second, like if you're like playing like StarCraft, every extremely tiny interval of time, you have something to do. And if you don't do that thing, then something bad will happen or something good will happen. Like something happens when you don't do the thing. So you're always in a state of decision making. And I think we can apply the same principle to attention on the SAT. I think the big issue is that kids are worried about time management. This is one of the big things that kids stress out about. Oh my God, I've spent too much time. But it's funny how like innocuous those two words are, spending time. Because spending time seems like a thing that we do. Like we can choose to spend time and not spend time, or spend too much time, or spend little time. But actually, when you really think about it in terms of an action that we can watch, and an action that I can see you do, like a tangible thing with a beginning and an end, what is spending time? Like when does it end, right? When did you begin the spending of the time? When did you finish the spending of time? It's never actually very clear. What I mean by this is kids kind of worry about things that they can't actually break down into like 5 second actions. Because spending time is not a 5 second action. It's an end outcome of being overly fixated on one vocabulary word and panicking about that one vocabulary word. And then turns out that they spent 2 minutes and 30 seconds on question number 4. It's like, oh my God, how did I spend 2 minutes and 30 seconds on question number 4? Like there's so many more, there's like 23 other questions. And I spent too much time. That's what they say. But spending time is not an action. It's not an action. What is an action, right? And I think that is a challenge of anyone who struggles to focus while taking the test. You have to define the actions. And it turns out the actions are really definable. They are. It's like WASD on like you can hit W to go forward on a computer game, on a first-person shooter, for example. You can hit S to go backwards. You can hit A to strafe left, and D to strafe right. And it's as simple as that, although it doesn't seem that way at first. But it's as simple as that when you're taking when you're taking an SAT, and you just need to define what those keys are, what those actions are. And I'll tell you what the action was. I'll tell you the action that I was trying to make you do. Okay, and I think you can already guess what it is. Okay, it was to defend your answer choices, but specifically to defend every part of your answer choice. So I was kind of making. Actually, I'll make this into a screenshot real quick so I can like annotate it. The way I get kids to do this in class, okay, is I actually have them just underline the parts that they notice in the answer choice, and then I ask them, did you get all parts? And then sometimes they're like, oh no, I have to add another one. And so they add another one. But just that is an action. And how long does that action take? Maybe if it's hard, like 10 seconds, 15 seconds, but not that much more than that, right? It's a small action. You just broke it into parts. The second action here is now defend the easiest one. And which one's the easiest one? You said rearing conditions. I actually think it is easy, but you went into a bit of into like a sort of like a Mobius loop in your head, and it got really messed up. But field reared and lab reared spiders. Now, what does rearing mean? Okay, it is easy if you know what rearing means. Can you tell me what rearing means? Okay, guess. So if a spider is lab reared, what is... Okay, incorrect. Good guess. You tried. Wrong. Reared. So how about this? How familiar, on a scale of 0 to 10, how familiar is this term? child rearing. Child rearing. 5 means you know literally just a definition, but you've never used it, or you're not very familiar with it. You just only know the definition is 5. 0 means it's your first time hearing it ever, and 10 means you use that word all the time in your life. And I think you said 0. Do you agree? Was it the first time you've ever heard that word? Then you got a little unlucky here, okay? Because it's for most Americans, at least. I understand you're not American. For most Americans, they would have at least heard that word before. Child rearing means child raising. So lab raised spiders is one rearing condition, but there's a S here. So we need a second rearing condition. So what's the second rearing condition? That is field collected spiders. But field collected means they came from nature. So what is their rearing condition? Their rearing condition is wild. They were raised in the wild, right? That is their rearing condition. So those are the 2 rearing conditions. And if we wanted to, we can keep underlining every instance of the rearing conditions if we wanted to, okay? Yeah. You did a action that I think is like, in like certain video games, just kind of for like the meme potential, they'll have like suicide actions where you just hurt yourself. You performed an action there, which I call word mapping, okay? And that is, for me, one of those meme actions where you're actually not helping yourself when you are word mapping. You are harming yourself. That action is when you are just scanning for similar words without paying attention to the structure of the passage. So basically, you look for a synonym. For example, word mapping in this case would be like seeing the word suitable and then looking for the word appropriate. That's word mapping. It's very dangerous. Yeah, I get it. Yeah, I get it. There's a lot of it's a complex game. This is not as simple of a game as like Pong, for example, or Pac-Man. There's a couple more actions involved, so I won't be able to cover every possible action in this one video, but I'll be able to at least show you something that's going on. And more than anything, I just want you to take away this idea of like, do you know what you're doing for the next 5 minutes? Do you have a name for the action? Do you know the button you're supposed to click? Or do you know the macro you're supposed to hit, right? Do you know the thing you're supposed to do at this very moment? Because if you can consistently say yes every 5 seconds, then that means, I strongly suspect that means you will not lose focus ever. It means that you are locked in. So anyway, I just completed part 1 of the 3. So let me just finish off the defense. So then there's blue here. We're trying to actually green is the second easiest one, so I'm going to start with green. I'm going to move to green. So we have experimental stimuli, right? So for experimental stimuli, we need to find the thing that causes them to react. The thing that causes them to react. So you could probably do this actually. So I'll give you like a 10-second grace period. Hey, what's the first word or phrase that you see that is an experimental stimuli? In here, an experimental stimulus. Perfect. High protein diet, that's the first one. How about the second one? Correct? Are we done? Okay, keep going. Okay, are we done? Okay, we have 1, 2, 3, 4 experimental stimuli. We also have group A and group B for the rearing conditions. Okay. now we are almost at the end of one little level in this game, which is the defending the answers game, or mini game rather. Let's go and figure out the affecting the responses of the spiders. So where's that? Now it should be fairly easy. And correct. So we are preferring one type of flower if I am a lab spider, and a different type of flower if I am a wild spider. I am aggressive when I have a certain kind of diet if I'm a lab spider, and a different kind of diet, aggressive with a different kind of diet when I'm a wild spider. So that actually defends, we have just defended the plurals, okay, of the red and the green, and we've just defended the every instance of the affecting the bold response. We found every instance of affecting the response of bold jumping spiders in the passage. So at this point, you have just defended the full answer choice, and you've completed that part of this game. At this point, I would ask you, I mean, you already, the problem is that you're already biased with your, you already know the answer here. You already know that it's A, but if you didn't know it was A at this point, I would ask you, what has happened to your confidence in the answer choice A? And at this point, you would be very, very high. You should be very, very high confidence that A is the correct answer, because there's not a single word in A that we cannot defend. Okay. And A is obviously correct. Whereas if we try to defend all parts of cat, as in C, we would see laboratory settings, and then I'd feel immediately uncomfortable about settings. Did we talk about settings? We talked about lab-reared spiders, but did we talk about settings? And then we have more suitable. So the settings are more suitable. And I would be immediately not able to defend just the first 5 words, actually. So I wouldn't even go past the first 5 words, because the first 5 words are so hard to defend that I wouldn't even bother with C. Does that make sense? Okay. We actually went kind of deep into one question, and I think that was pretty productive personally, but maybe it wasn't, or maybe it was for you. Can you tell me what you took away from this experiment, this little demonstration? Yeah, I keep going. Um, I have comments about the reading process too, because I do think the reading process. It's like, you know how um, some games have like platforming elements and then the puzzle elements, like um, Split Fiction came out recently, which is like this, like, oh, you know the game. So there's yeah. So I've played It Takes Two. I've not played Split Fiction, um, but it has platforming aspects, and then it has like the puzzle aspects. I I think the reading is like the platforming, and then the answer choices are like the puzzles. They're kind of two different skill sets, and you need to learn different actions that you can break down into 5-10 second chunks for both games. But so I feel like we could, in the future, if we had like unlimited time, we could talk more about this. For today, we'll have to just limit the conversation just to stay more focused. And I'd actually prefer to zoom out. What did you think? What do you think about, like I babbled on and on about the whole actions thing, right? About how defining really small actions has a relationship to your level of focus. That's my general hypothesis, and I'm curious what you think about what I said there. Right, because you're not. Yeah, right. Because you are actually, and I don't think I'm oversharing right now, but you're kind of close to the end of your journey with the SAT. You've already been studying for half a year, and you don't want to add too much more complexity. You just want to get over the finish line. So that whole idea seems like maybe too much work right now, with only 5 days left before your final SAT. I appreciate. I think that makes sense. That makes sense for you at your stage right now. Um, so practically speaking, that maybe doesn't have any effect on you. Any comments on that idea theoretically? Yeah, not with your current timeline. Got it. All right. How about this? Just because I want to end this where you do feel like you have one thing you can take away that's useful for May SAT. So I kind of want to scope down. I know you prepared two other questions, and I also prepared a bunch of questions too, but we're not going to be able to cover all that unless we make this stream super, super long. So do you mind just trying to solve one question, but using the technique of defending all parts of your answer choice? Would you like to try that? Okay. Go ahead and share your screen one more time. Yep. I'll also be shifting my screen over here. Yep. So I'll wait for you to share your screen.
Okay. There it is.
Okay, and I'm loading it right now. And you should see a Notion page. Okay, there we go. And using your just on the first one, I think we'll just use the first one as warm up because it's not a question that you can really use the idea of defending all parts. You can't really use that technique on this question really. So we'll use question number one as a warm up. I just want you to get used to using your mouse to indicate where you're looking. Okay, and we're gonna use practice.
Okay.
We're gonna use question one to just practice that. And specifically, I don't need you to hover your mouse over the word that you're looking at, but I would like you to either hover the mouse down the center of the paragraph as you're reading it, or down the margin of the paragraph as you're reading it.
Okay.
So if you're reading like the first line, then your mouse should be either on the word island or like right there, or like right next to Baja, right? Right. And then it shows me vertically where you are. And then if it helps you, you can also think out loud. If you decide to think out loud, do not try to communicate with me. You're not communicating, you're just blabbing. Okay? I don't even have to understand what you're saying, but just hearing it could help me. But if thinking out loud feels like too much work, then you can just read it silently. First task, can you go ahead and just read the whole passage and try to predict the answer in your own words?
nothing of that. Okay.
Okay. This is actually awesome. I want to teach you. I'm so tempted to teach you a skill right now. But okay. Right. You read the whole thing once, and true or
Yeah.
false? Around hover your mouse around the word the classical view. Classical view that. Can you hover your mouse over there? Classical view that, just so I can see that you're looking at the same place. Okay. Hot or cold? It was around this line where where your mind started blanking out. How hot? Is it like super hot or just warm? Where like how close am I?
It's very hot.
Very hot. Okay, see. Guys, just I need to just promote myself real quickly. Guys, stop. Yeah, stop hiring teenagers as tutors, dude. I can read your minds, bros. Anyway, that's just me, self promo. My bad. All right, back to anyway.
My tutor wasn't even a teenager. It was a full-grown adult.
Okay. I mean, I'm a very I think that I'm a much more serious tutor than the average, just because I really do observe my students and I think what they're thinking, and I feel what they're feeling, and I kind of experience what they're experiencing, and after like I've been teaching for 14 years, like after 14 years of teaching, like I have an idea of what you guys are thinking and feeling and experiencing. So I mean, I'm not always right, but yeah, in this case I was very right. So I can imagine why your mind would go blank there. And there's a skill that I will not get into the details of today, just because it would just be a whole, like, that would make this like a whole full on session. But but just to help you out a little bit, okay? I'm gonna, I'll do this on my Notion so that you can actually see it on your screen, okay? Um,
So do I stop this stream?
oh no, stay there. I just need to get to the page, but my page got. What's the name of this page? Oreo coaching. Okay. Let me just help you out so that you can at least try to make a prediction. Um,
So I'm also tired.
yeah.
Um,
Okay, do you see the underline? Oh, no, it's not live updating, huh? Okay. Okay, in that case, I'll have you just refresh that page. Can you refresh that page?
hold on. Look, never mind.
Okay.
Okay.
I didn't do all of it, but I did some of the work for you to start seeing the relationships between quote unquote characters in this quote unquote story. Right now I have just underlined two characters or two potential characters, and I would like you to kind of just like try rereading the whole thing and look for relationships between more characters in this story.
I'm seeing sort of an opposing view.
Okay?
Okay, like this scientist is opposing like classical view
Okay, so your
of
prediction
how
is
like species and risk. That this researcher is challenging the view, the classic view of arrangements being. Wait, I need to read that again. Okay, so heterogeneous spatial arrangements. Okay, yeah, that these species and resources directly affect the way they're put into space, like organized. Um,
Directly.
so
So
he's saying
let's actually, when we're doing the prediction, I'm noticing that you have this habit of adding more words, like this researcher is, right? But the blank doesn't say this researcher; it just says this. So can you put can you put a word or phrase? It can be a whole phrase that would fit into that blank.
challenges.
Okay. Can you go and look for? Can you click on the little triangle next to choices and try to match your answer?
So challenges. I don't know what bolstered means. Doubted. Definitely not. Um, wait, no. Challenges. Yeah. Let me look at the other ones. Destabilized. Accepted. Bolstered. It's B?
Okay. So
Doubted. No, it doesn't sound good.
oh, okay. How about this? When you are done, tell me final answer and then say your letter. Okay,
Okay. Can I read it over again?
go ahead. Oh, actually, I'm noticing you're reading the passage over again. Okay, if that's the case, no, I want to pause then. I want to pause. Pretend we're just pausing time, okay? And right now, let me just narrate what's happening in this moment in time. You had a prediction. And at the time when you had the prediction, you were fairly confident. I could hear it in your voice. You were pretty confident, maybe 80 or 90% confident in your prediction that the answer should say something like challenged. Okay? Then you went into A and you didn't know the definition of A. You went into B and you didn't like it immediately, but then you thought about it again and you liked it a little bit more, but not loving it. There's something unsettled in your heart. With C, I couldn't really understand your feelings around C personally, and then D, I felt like at this point, actually, I'm making a guess, but I feel like at this point, even though you were looking at D, I think your mind was lingering on A and B. So I don't think you were really, I don't think you really moved on from the first couple, but I don't know. You tell me.
No, I did move on. I was starting to think, like, what could D mean? But I
Okay.
don't know the word either.
Ah, I see. I
I only
see.
know B and C.
Okay, looks like you do have some vocabulary challenges to overcome. But within 5 days, by the way, the immediate tip is don't worry about it. Okay? When it becomes a statistical game, if you don't know 2 out of 4 words, then you just have to give them equal weighting. You just have to say maybe to A and D. Just say maybe to A, maybe to D. And then you have to choose uh, is there one that is more than 50% likely to be correct? And so if you look at B and you think it's more than 50% likely, then you just choose it. If you look at C and you think it's more than 50% likely, then you just choose it. Okay? It's a statistical game because you just got unlucky. You got unlucky, and so you're just going to have to make a guess. Yeah, so I want to just, before you go back and reread the entire passage, I want to actually shortcut that whole process. I want to tell you that you are not crazy to be confident in your prediction. Your prediction is good. You have a good prediction. Okay? This challenged the classical view. Okay? Now, the problem is that you're sort of wimping out. Give me a second. Let me fix my camera for you.
I don't even see you. I'm just looking at my own screen.
Okay. Well, it was a quick fix, but right now the problem is that you're actually wimping out. You already did the hard work of understanding the passage. So why is it that you've succumbed immediately to the temptation to reread the passage for this like glimmer of additional confidence? You like literally 15 seconds before, maybe more like 25 seconds before, 25 seconds before, you already had a lot of confidence in your prediction, right? And I think your reading ability is good enough that you can believe yourself there. Now it's just a matter of statistics. Which one is the closest to my match? And so let me just start with that. Let's just make a dumb. I'm going to force you to make a choice. Which answer choice is the closest to your match? This is not your final answer. I'm just asking you what it is.
Challenged.
Yeah, challenged. Which one is the
Okay.
closest?
AC.
Okay.
Um,
And then you don't know A and D, right?
I don't know AD.
And
I
B,
could guess what they mean, but
but you're not sure, right? So, in this situation, I do have a more formal exercise of what you can do, but just I'm kind of shortening it. I'm kind of synthesizing into a smaller chunk right now. But I think the most important thing right now for you is to believe in yourself, because believe in yourself from 30 seconds ago. Because 30 seconds ago, you were doing the hard work of actually understanding the passage, and that prediction didn't come from nowhere. Okay, it came from the passage. So take that prediction, and then if you get unlucky where you don't know the words, just choose the one that seems close enough to it and move on, and just hope that you get lucky on it. Okay, because you were unlucky. You were unlucky that you didn't know 2 out of 4 answer choices. And there's really nothing you can do about it. You can't suddenly improve your vocabulary in real time. And no matter how many times you reread the passage, it's not going to improve your vocabulary. you know. So, so what would your final answer? What would your final answer be?
A.
One more time.
C.
See, and you would be correct, actually. It's crazy because when I was telling you to just choose the one, when I was telling you to just choose the one that you believed in, I expected you to choose B and be wrong. And I was going to explain why it's not B. But then I would still praise you for still choosing the one that you believe in, the one that matches your prediction, because that is how you save time. You save time by just moving on. And maybe you can bookmark it and come back to it later, but you just move on and work on the other questions, okay? But you even got it correct this time, so
No,
that's
what
even
I
better
was
than I expected.
I was close to yeah, I was close to saying doubted, but then I thought of challenge. Challenge is a little bit more aggressive, so I thought that it should be the correct answer is probably a little bit more aggressive, which is stabilization.
Yeah, amazing how. Uh, Maybe I was, and actually, a lot of what I'm teaching you right now really depends on an assumption that I'm making. But can you confirm my assumption? I said that you were probably 80 or 90% confident in your prediction. Was that even true? Were you 80 or 90% confidence in your prediction?
I mean, I read the text, I understood what was happening, I recognized that it was
Okay.
like 2
Yeah.
opposing ideas, so
And this is, I think, maybe just a lesson for life. But if you did the preparation, uh, when it comes time to execute on that preparation, don't suddenly doubt yourself. Just believe in the work that you put in. Okay. And this could be anything like, this could be like if you were acting, right? And then now it's time to do the actual show. Just believe in your preparation, right? Um, it
yeah.
could be an interview. It could be anything, but just believe in that preparation and just stick with it, because it's better to just believe in yourself and be wrong than to just constantly live in doubt. Okay, just. um,
Yeah,
all right.
say this though, I have self-confidence issues, so I didn't expect to be blasted this bad, but
Okay. It is a hard
and
question, by the way.
I have a bad habit of second guessing myself constantly, because I've learned that with my challenges that I always have to double check myself, uh, and because I know the mistakes that I can do without even knowing.
I think you,
So
I think you have two. I'm trying to think of a good metaphor for this. I can't think of it right now, but I feel like there's two.
it goes into a death loop, where I know I prepared.
Like,
I know my own struggles. I know what's happening, but I still end up second guessing myself
okay.
because I'm like, What if,
Okay, so that's a large problem,
yeah.
but how about the small problem of predicting the word challenged and then willing yourself to choose this destabilized? How about that problem? Is that how manageable is that?
It's pretty manageable, I would say.
On a scale of 0 to 10 in terms of confidence, how confident are you that you can manage that level of belief?
At 8. I
8?
might still doubt myself, but yeah,
Yeah.
like not fully there.
Let's focus on the little wins here. I think that's the key here. Focus on the little wins. Okay. Um, Actually, this session's going quite long, so I want to just do a quick check with you. Let's just do an energy check. So I'll share my energy level. You share your energy level. On a scale of 0 to 10, how energetic are you feeling right now?
5. I woke up at 6:30. Now I have to use my brain and talk,
And talk, yeah.
so it's pretty low.
It's dropping. So compared to 1 hour ago, your energy has dropped. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Okay. So I think if that's the case, we should. By the way, I'm kind of like a 8 right now. I'm pretty good. But I think if that's the case, if your energy level is dropping, we should respect that, and we should um, move towards wrapping up. So in that case, we would be sacrificing the drill that I actually had in mind, which is to defend all parts. That's the thing that I was actually trying to build towards. And then we ended up at this other drill of like uh, predicting and matching. And so those are just two different lessons. They're not even directly connected right now. Are you okay with just ending the exercises on with these two things that we just did?
Do one more.
You could do one more.
Comfortable. Yeah.
Okay, because I don't want you to force it. But we can go to if you can do one more, then we can do number. Hang on. Do I have a good one for defend all parts?
But I think this is a thing I can practice on my own as well.
You can. You can.
Um,
You definitely can. Um, actually, in this list, there isn't. There is one, but it would require me to do a little bit more explanation. I'm trying to, but there isn't a single question here that doesn't require a little bit of additional preparation from me. So I think it's probably cleaner to just wrap it up because these questions aren't the best for that particular lesson. So I think I'll try to have I'll share what my general thoughts are, but I would like you to first kind of uh, process the things that you've kind of noticed or realized or picked up on in the last hour, and kind of tell me what stuck out to you from our conversation in the past hour. Let me know if you need some help structuring your response.
No, I already have it ready.
Yeah, so what lessons or what impressions stuck out to you?
The way I approach questions, um, this made me realize some of the fallacies I fall into, even more that I wasn't really aware of before. And I feel like this could be really helpful on tricky questions where I don't know the answer, like the wording is confusing. Where I could use the defend your answer method. So somewhere where I'm not sure, I've already read the passage twice, didn't understand any of it. Um, and also just double checking my answers. I think I'll stick to what I know already and only employ it where I feel like it's a challenging question or I'm not too sure about it. Because in training, I've managed to get really good at being able to tell on what questions I am highly likely to mess up. So whenever I go back to them, like after the module, I can just use those strategies.
So let me bounce back what I heard. So you put a lot of work in over the last half year. So you have a pretty good sense of what questions you struggle on. And you think that it could be really helpful to use the technique of defending all parts of the answer choice on the really hard questions where you tend to make mistakes, because that kind of falls into the spirit of double checking your answer. And it's just a more sort of rigorous version of that. So I guess that would be probably your main takeaway. But maybe you could just say it in your own words. What is your main takeaway from today's mini coaching session? Takeaway as in something practical that you can apply to help you on the May SAT.
I need to trust my training and trust myself.
Okay. Sounds good.
Because I worked for this 100%.
Yeah. And
the exam day is not the day to doubt myself.
I think Oreo was being a little humble about it, but they got the 770 on a practice test recently. So congratulations on your 770 on the practice test. Now it's really just a matter of being consistent with your approach.
I was familiar with some of the answers, so that is a little inflated. But
I see.
I am definitely over the 700 mark.
Okay. Yeah. Believing in yourself, I think that's a good one, and especially especially when that prediction comes from the text, right? You're not imagining it out of thin air. It actually came from the text. There were too many. Yeah, there's so many little things that we could have talked about, which actually made the session already pretty long compared to what I was expecting as is. So I hope you didn't feel overwhelmed by any of that. But I think given the fact that this is your last SAT, you have a couple of days left, the whole approach of just minimizing you're narrowing your focus to just add one little bonus on top of your already good process, right? I think that's the right approach when you only have 5 days left. You don't want to do dramatic changes in the last 5 days. So I completely agree with that. And more generally, I feel like this is just me sharing my impressions on you and on what you can take away from this session. I think if you come away from the session believing that the sort of challenges that you face when taking a test can have answers, right? That the answers exist somewhere in the world, that you can actually do something different to change it. And if that makes you feel a little bit more positive or optimistic about the future, then I think that's just that's a win right there. So sermon over. um, I know that having ADHD and dyslexia and dysgraphia and dyscalculia and all these other fun goodies.
Dyscalculia.
Calculia. I know that having all um, these blessings, okay, which I'm being ironic about this. Obviously, it's really hard to deal with these things, but I know that there's some practical tips that you might want to share for other students who are in the same situation as you. So, do you mind? Do you want to quickly? You can stop sharing your screen actually, but if you
Yeah,
want
I
to share,
forgot that
have a
was
word,
something
yeah,
going on.
go ahead and let the world know what tips you have.
I mean, one big thing that I do, and I always did after a practice test, was go through every single mistake and see where I went wrong. And I can give an example of what happened on my last practice test. I had this really difficult geometry question. It was like similar triangles and a lot of steps to do. And I had the logic right, and then I forgot the square term in a Pythagorean theorem, and it went down from there. Um, and this happens in reading, right? Like I can skip um, without wanting to, and the only effective way I've been able to manage it is know my mistakes, know what happens on in my brain, like go back to it, reflect, and at the moment try to reread or just leave it as is and then come back to it later if it's a challenging problem, no matter if it's like English or math. Literally just leave it and then come back to it. Because sometimes I don't see when I'm stressed, I'm like, oh, I feel my brain malfunctioning. I get stressed and I'm even more likely to mess it up. So it's just better to leave it there,
For
come
sure,
back like
put some distance on
five,
it.
10 minutes. Yeah.
For sure. Yeah, it really helps to put some distance from you and the thing that's causing you anxiety because when you come back to see it a second time, it's oftentimes not as scary the second time around. I thought you also wanted to say something about
That's
the accommodations.
um I don't feel the need to add it. I just wanted to say that generally people see accommodations as an advantage. It isn't. It just brings me to equality to all the other taste takers. Because I started with a disadvantage, so the accommodations just bring me to level.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, hey guys, if no matter what place you are in life, there's always going to be some people who has something to criticize about what you're doing, and I would strongly urge you to place your focus um, on people who see value in what you're doing, rather than people who are looking to take you down at every opportunity. So there's always somebody to be providing value too. It could be, just like it could just be helping people out, or just by being a good student, you're making your parents proud. Even that, which I think that gets kind of underrated because a lot of kids are stressed out and stuff. But just there's always ways to provide value in this world. So focus on that. Don't focus on the people who are trying to criticize every little thing about you. Any final word from you before I wrap up?
No? Luck.
All right, Oreo, thank you so much for joining. I just have a quick shout out for myself, and my screen is messed up right now. But Oreo, you can actually see my screen messed up. Um, actually, Oreo, now that I think about it, you don't really have to stick around because I'm just going to talk another minute or so. But hey, everyone on YouTube, I don't know if I can fix this screen. I can actually. Here's the screen. Fixed. So, hey, everyone on YouTube. If you are taking the May SAT, good luck. It's 5 days. And if you would like to get some help from other people who are in the same situation as you, the Discord channel is available to you. It is in the description below. You can find the link to join our Discord server. And if you're taking the June SAT, I have a special announcement for you guys. I'm in the middle of launching a course to teach you how to predict and match the correct answer on all the different SAT reading, writing question types. So if you watch my streams and you know this whole predict and match thing, but you don't really know how to actually do it yourself, and you would like extra practice questions, including some very, very hard challenge questions and like video lectures showing you how to actually do it step by step. I'm in the middle of creating that right now, and I'm expecting to launch very soon. Not before the May SAT. It's too late for the May SAT, but I am expecting to launch for the June SAT. And if you guys sign up, you would be the very, very early, super early adopters. So for you guys would be like, I guess, the pilot class, I guess is that term. You guys would be the pilot class. So I'll be offering you guys a huge discount, and it'll be the lowest price that it will ever be. If you are interested, if you'd like to learn more about that, if you'd like to learn more about that and claim your discount, find the link here, I think. Okay, here or somewhere. Okay, there'll be a link. I'll figure it out afterwards. And then if you have questions, you can chat with me again in Discord or through email after signing up. Okay, guys. I hope this video was helpful for you, and thanks for watching. Until next time, keep on learning, keep on growing. Peace.